Bungie confirms it stole art once again, will undertake a thorough review of Marathon assets. This is a big yikes situation. Bungie is once again being accused of using the designs of an independent artist without permission, pay, or attribution. In a post on X earlier today, visual artist Anti-Real said that Marathon's environment art uses design elements pulled directly from her 2017 poster designs. So here we have one example here. Aleph Dark Space, seen in several screenshots. Dark Space Haulage Logistics. Another example here. We got some arrows, and then we got this square patch. It's like the same numbers too, like 28 right here. Some icons. Bungie is of course not obligated to hire me when making a game that draws overwhelmingly from the same design language I've refined for the last decade, but clearly my work was good enough to pillage for ideas and plaster all over their game without pay or attribution. They have the resources nor the energy to spare to pursue this legally, but I've lost count of the number of times a major company has deemed it easier to pay a designer to imitate or steal my work than to write me an email. In 10 years, I've never made a consistent income from this work, and I am tired of designers from huge companies mood boarding and parasitizing my designs while I struggle to make a living. Compared with the original designs, which are still visible in X, these are fairly blatant similarities. The design element from one of Anti-Real's posters of the word Aleph in all caps paired with the text Dark Space Haulage Logistics seems to have appeared unaltered on a series of Marathon structures. A sequence of logos and boxes seen on in-game tarps and sheeting appears to be directly pulled from another Anti-Real poster. Taking a look at gameplay of the Marathon Alpha available on YouTube, PC Gamer confirmed that the double arrow logo from a third Anti-Real design was visible in the game. Yeesh. Anti-Real said that she hasn't been able to pursue legal action against Bungie due to lack of resources. This isn't the first time Bungie has been accused of using the work of independent artists without permission. Just last year, Bungie admitted fan art was used while designing a Destiny 2 Nerf gun and promised to compensate and credit the artist. Jeez. In 2023, Bungie said it would do the same for another artist after an in-game Destiny 2 cutscene featured near identical similarities to their artwork. And in 2021, Bungie confirmed that fan art of Zivu Aerith was accidentally used in a trailer for the like, how, guys? I just realized Bungie took inspiration from my piece for this week's cutscene. Certainly took me by surprise when I watched the cutscene. Pretty similar. There must be something wrong with the process here. In the replies of Anti-Real's accusation, another X user noted that she's followed by Marathon franchise art director Joseph Cross on the platform. Anti-Real said that Cross and other Bungie artists have followed her for a few years, but said she'd never communicate with them. Marathon dev team tweeted, "We immediately investigated a concern regarding unauthorized use of artist decals in Marathon and confirmed that a former Bungie artist included those in a texture sheet that was ultimately used in-game. The issue was unknown by our existing art team, and we're still reviewing how this oversight occurred. We take matters like this very seriously. We've reached out to Anti-Real to discuss this issue and are committed to doing right by the artist. As a matter of policy, we do not use the work of artists without their permission." Look, I'm not going to pretend to know what a design process is supposed to be like or how these things are structured, but wouldn't you be reviewing as like a manager their work? Wouldn't you be able to see steps in the process of developing this stuff? To prevent similar issues in the future, we're conducting a thorough review of our in-game assets, specifically those done by the former Bungie artists, and implementing stricter checks to document all artists. We value the creativity and dedication of all artists who contribute to our games, and we're committed to doing right by them. This is exactly what I'm referencing. This is not the first time. This has happened like pretty much every year in the last 5 years. This isn't the first time. Bungie really gonna act like we don't have receipts of them doing this to a point where it's not even a whoopsie, it's just outright becoming a consistent thing. Yeah, look at this. 2021, Destiny 2 Witch Queen trailer, artist, nature, resolution status, Destiny 2 cutscene, Nerf gun, environment art. This is just wild. One of the biggest things that resonates with me about this is just they've had layoffs and budget cuts. And this is like pretty much true of the entire industry. It's just so ruthless. Final Marathon closed alpha review. How did it go? Marathon is meant to be a first-person, more action-focused extraction shooter than other entries into the genre. This means attempting to please both existing extraction players and trying to pull in new players. But splitting the difference has produced mixed results. Gameplay feels good, but it doesn't exactly stand out if we're talking about all-time shooter maker Bungie. It's more grounded and ran into controversy when PC players found they had intense aim assist, where pushback was so forceful to that, Bungie removed it entirely halfway through the alpha, totally changing the dynamic. Did anyone play the alpha? I'd be curious what you guys think. The game is just brutal for solo players, where future plans do not seem like they will meaningfully address the issue, as the game relentlessly focused on team games for launch. This very much seems like a game you're supposed to play with two friends, or else you may not have a good time at all. The visuals are one aspect that are clearly unfinished. The visuals are one aspect that's clearly not even started. Interiors look great, but exteriors and player models need an exceptional amount of work. Overall, I still love the aesthetic, even if it's quite not what it's been in Blender renders or cinematic trailers. Reception. The overall reception was not positive. This is not to say no one liked it, and many people did, but taking the temperature of the gaming community, this early look, even if it's unfinished, demonstrated the core components of the game, and many players seemed to bounce off. High-profile streamers were very interested in giving it a shot, but almost immediately moved on within a day or two, and a few were raving about it. Within a week, Twitch viewership was somewhere in the range of 1 to 6K, down from 140K when it first released. Yeah, but there's probably just not much to do right now. The main issues seem pretty clear. Harder core existing extraction shooter players thought the game was too dumbed down to be something that improved the genre, catering to casuals. A lot of casuals were turned off by the entire extraction shooter concept of losing loot or unbalanced fights. Geared up players got bored of stomping on default kit players. Default kit players got tired of being stomped on. There was, of course, a middle ground of players who did like the game and are excited for it, but this is not the majority view I found across social media, which, I don't know, take with a grain of salt. TLDR, mixed responses. Marathon art director Joe Cross issued this statement during a recent live stream.
It came to our attention that an artist who worked on Marathon in the early stages of pre-production took a number of graphic elements from a graphic designer without permission or acknowledgement and placed them on a decal sheet that was then checked in 2020. The decal sheet included icons and text elements. These elements ended up in our alpha build, and there's absolutely no excuse for this oversight, and we are working on and 100% committed to our review process to ensure instances like this don't happen again on Marathon or at Bungie. A few of the things that we've done over the last 24 hours and what we're doing to shore up the review process are as follows. We've reached out to Anti-Real, the artist in question, and followed up to ensure that we do right by this artist. We're auditing all of the previous work by the artist, the internal artist, including the environment decals already in the build, which is part of why we're delaying some of the content we're going to show today. And we're committed to removing anything that is questionably or inappropriately sourced. We're doing a very broad decal audit, and if we locate any other details or elements, we'll make sure that those are eliminated, recreated in-house for sure. Hundreds of artists have worked on this project for years, internally and externally, and we share many influences, including modernism, Swiss typography, 2000s style vector art, cyberpunk, and of course the original Marathon trilogy. Our style is a result of all of those inspirations. And it's also worth noting that none of our external partners who've worked on branding or any part of the visual design of our game were involved with this situation. And lastly, personally, I have a huge amount of respect and admiration for artists working independently and producing, and making a living doing commercial or fine art. And we've worked with many of them. It's one of my favorite parts of the job is to make those connections and create content and collaborate. And so to that extent, I want to send my personal apology to Anti-Real, whose work was used in this case. And I know how unfair this feels, and we're doing everything we can to make this right with her. Her work is fantastic, and we clearly share mutual appreciation for a specific genre of graphic design, and it's very exciting, and I'm excited to have folded that into our style in general. So thanks for listening, and thanks for your patience.
Some things went wrong, and clearly some more drama surrounding Marathon. Is the game too far in development to cancel, or is it still early enough that they can choose to pivot or close it down? What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. But some bad news for Marathon right now, as some struggles and controversies are arising. So we'll see what happens next.